Teep kick, front kick. Which kick is more powerful? Which kick is the faster kick? Which kick is the better kick? How's it going, guys? It's Rob here with Combat Self-Defense, and in today's video, we're going to compare and contrast the teeps from Muay Thai and the front kick from karate, and figure out once and for all which kick is the better kick. Actually, I'm going to give away the ending now. Neither kick is better. They're both good for different reasons, but this is still a good video. So if you want to show support to the channel, make sure to subscribe and have notifications turned on, and let's get started. Boom! To get us started, let's talk about the teep kick, more commonly just called the teep. A lot of people also call this the push kick, which is technically true, but I think it's better if we consider this a foot jab rather than a push kick. And I'll explain why in a little bit. So I'm going to start in my good Thai stance. First thing I'm going to do is bring my foot right underneath my head. In general, I like to bring the foot to the head rather than the head to the foot, but either way works. Doesn't really matter for what we're talking about. For right now, I'm going to bring the foot under the head. Then I'm going to lift my knee up into the air, push my leg out, and then come back to where I started. Again, I'm here, and back. Here, and back. Now there's one critical element that changes this from a lead leg snap kick to a teep, and that is my butt. Because if I stay like this, completely stationary, the power comes from me snapping my knee out and doing nothing else, which is fine, just not the teep. But, no pun intended, when I involve my butt, I change it from being a snap kick to the more powerful teep kick. Now you don't want to over-exaggerate this, you don't want to throw yourself completely backwards by involving your butt, but you want just a little snap from the muscle that God gave you. You want to put some action in your traction. So, again, I bring the foot under head, lift the knee, and thrust my butt, boom! There is my lead leg teep. Again, I'm here. I can technically throw a kick with the arms down. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can create a strong counter lever force with your same side arm. What I mean by that is as my leg comes up to throw the kick, my arm comes down to create a counter force to my leg. So from this position, I bring my arm up nice and high and chop it down as the kick comes out. You can do this out towards your opponent, or you can throw it down to the ground. Either way works, but be aware if you throw the arm down, you're opening yourself up to a counter from your opponent. But that's really a choice you have to make. I do need to keep my rear arm up because dropping my rear arm doesn't do anything to help the kick. So there's really no excuse to get lazy with that rear arm. Make sure you're not bringing your knee all the way up to your chest because now you're changing this from a kick to a fireman's stomp. And what I want to keep in mind is that I'm not trying to push a door down with this kick. I'm trying to get in at my opponent and bring my foot back nice and quickly. The closer my knee comes to my chest, or more accurately, the more my knee breaks a 90-degree angle, the more obvious the kick becomes and the harder it becomes for me to throw it with proper power and alignment. Second thing to keep in mind is what my posting ankle is doing. I don't want to throw my kick and lean back behind my ankle, nor do I want to throw the kick and lean forward over the ankle. And for a couple reasons. First one is, not good for your ankle. It's a good way to get it broken. But second one is, if I lean back, I'm going to be off balance and throw myself rather than my opponent. And if I lean forward, that means I'm going to be off balance towards my opponent, and that's where I get countered. So try to keep your head directly over your heel. Try not to lean. Learn the range of your leg. If you know the length of your leg, you will always know when and where you can throw a teep kick. And if you need to take some range, learn to either slide as you throw the kick, step to throw the kick, or hop as you throw the kick. So that's the basics of how to throw the Muay Thai teep. Now let's switch gears and talk about the karate front kick. But to do that, I gotta dress appropriately. Now I'm ready to talk about karate. So the front kick is kind of misnamed because if I say front kick, you might think I'm talking about the lead leg, but actually the front kick describes the rear leg coming to the front to deliver the kick. So already we're seeing some differences between this kick and the teep. But there's a few more. Once again, I'm going to be here in a left forward stance. Now, instead of bringing my rear foot underneath my head, I'm actually going to prefer my weight on my left foot. I'm going to be heavier on the lead side so that my rear foot is free to drive forward at my opponent. But just like with the teep, I'm going to bring my knee up in front of me. Once my knee comes up in front of me, I snap the leg out, bring the leg back, and right back where I started. Again, I'm here. The front kick is much less glute dominant, like the teep was, and much more knee dominant, like the snap kick is. And that's appropriate because this is a snap kick. So when I bring my knee up, I keep my butt more or less stationary and only snap from the knee. Because this leg is already in the back, by the time it's come to the front, you've got a lot of potential power. So you don't need a lot of range to deliver a powerful kick. It does help, you can definitely throw more from far away, but you can still devastate someone from a close range. And you have to remember, karate was originally developed as an up-close, dirty fighting system, and later on expanded to become more far away. But in the beginning, most of the kicks, most of the punches were done at a super close quarters range. So you can throw super long front kicks, or you can be more sneaky. Sneak them in like a little ninja knife. The arms are much less important in the front kick than they are in the teep. With the teep, you're using the kicking side arm as a counter lever to help create force. But with the front kick, because it's so knee dominant, you can more or less keep your hands in the same place the whole time. But for me, I do prefer to get a little hip action with the front kick, so when I throw it, I get a little drive from the arms. Also, because of the fact that karate kicks tend to be thrown more knee dominant, it's very easy to go from the front kick to a roundhouse kick, or to a side kick, or to a hook kick, whatever you want. It's very easy to change midway because most karate kicks start from the exact same forward position. Let this be a lesson, you guys. Always make sure your microphone batteries don't die in the middle of recording. Otherwise, you have to come back in a few hours and do it all over again. Anyway, while the front kick and the teep might have different uses, mechanically, they're basically the same kick. And mechanically, they both come with the same mistakes that you should avoid. Let's first talk about our posting leg. You might think, or you might instinctively want to raise up on the ball of your foot as you throw your kick. And that's not without reason. When you learn to throw your roundhouse kick, you're told it's okay and good to raise up on the ball of your foot, to give you more range, to give you more power, to give you more torque. And that's good for the roundhouse kick. That's good for the side kick. Actually, it's not good for the side kick. And that's good for the roundhouse kick. But it's not good for the front kick. It's not good for the teep. Because when I raise on the ball of my foot, it makes it harder to engage my hip when I'm throwing my teep. And if I raise on the ball of my foot, it makes it hard to return with balance back to my stance when I'm throwing the front kick. So, while it might feel good to raise up on the ball of your foot, you should notice that you're off balance if only for a split second. So, you can let the posting foot pivot with you as you throw your front kicks or as you throw your teep, but you don't want to calf raise into that kick. You want to root yourself into the ground and let this leg come out and stab or raise up and stab. Now, when I say you don't want to rise up on the ball of your foot, that doesn't mean I don't want your foot to move at all. Because if I leave my posting foot completely anchored to the ground, my hips can't get engaged at all in this kick. I need to have some movement in the hips. So I don't want my posting foot to rotate all the way behind me like it does with the side kick, and I don't even necessarily need it to turn all the way to 90 degrees, although that is acceptable. A little bit of motion, a little bit of rotation on the ball of your posting foot helps you engage your hip for both your front kick and for your teep. You might feel like your entire foot should make contact when you throw the kick, but that's not correct. And full disclosure, I'm probably the worst person to explain this concept because I have extremely flat feet, but in an ideal world, when you throw your front kick or your teep, only the ball of the foot makes contact with the object. Only the ball of the foot, because that's concentrating all the force into a smaller surface area. The purpose of my jab is to help me A, figure out how far away from me my opponent is, and keep him from rushing in at me. I'm using this as a measuring stick as well as a threat. My teep is the exact same thing. I'm using my teep not to create maximum power, at least not every time, but just to keep him from getting too close to me and to measure how he's going to react to my probing strikes. My uppercut is a power shot. I'm not going to use this to probe my opponent because I'm too far away to do so. What I am going to do is find a way to work into a middle distance and drive my uppercut into the body, into the jaw, wherever. The front kick is the exact same thing. Often the front kick is not going to be your opening move. It's just too slow and too obvious. However, there is a time to do that. We'll talk about that in another video. But just like with the uppercut, I'm going to be in more of a middle, already fighting range and throw my front kick from there. And while you can throw your front kick right in front of your opponent, I like to find an angle on them. I like to get off to the side, so now my kick can sneak in underneath the guard, hit them in the ribs or in the jaw. Again, you can be in this nice 12 and 12 position where the strike goes straight down the middle at them, but I find if I create an angle, either off to the right, off to the left, or wherever, I have much more success landing the front kick. So I think comparing the jab and the teep and the uppercut and the front kick is actually very appropriate. Not only because of the angles those strikes are coming in from, but because of the way they're meant to be used. But again, that's not a hard and fast rule. I can be right in front of my opponent and throw a long front kick, or I can be slightly closer and throw a teep off from an angle. None of these are hard and fast rules, they're just typically things that find success. So the teep is good, the front kick is good. You know what makes them even better? Putting them both together. Is anyone here a fan of the Karate Kid? What was the finishing move there? The crane kick, right? Typically, that's just a jumping snap kick, but you can modify it and make it go from a front kick to a jumping snap kick, or you can modify it again into now opening with a front kick into a flying teep kick. And now you change that probing teep into a powerful hopping kick that has the potential to drop a person. So once again, I'm here in my stance, I open with a good long front kick, leave the leg in the air in the chambered position, jump up and thrust my hips forward, boom! One more time. I come in here, throw the front kick, no can defend, ooey! So there was a compare and contrast of the Muay Thai teep and the karate front kick. And like I said in the beginning, neither one is better. They're both useful tools that you should have in your arsenal. That being said, in the heat of the moment, when it comes to actually doing these strikes, you really shouldn't be concerned with, am I doing a front kick now or am I doing a teep right now? Because ultimately, the goal is to get your body to move without you thinking. But while you're training, while you're practicing, you do want to have intention. You want to train with intention so you can perform without thinking. Think about that for a second. That all being said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, if you feel like you learned something, and if you're looking for a channel that combines the practicality of combat sports with the reality of self-defense and the fun of traditional martial arts, then please be sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, like, share, and leave a comment. And if you're looking to support the channel, head on over to combatsd.square.site and pick up our new Brutal Simplicity t-shirt. This t-shirt is representative of my entire philosophy of the martial arts, and it happens to feature a drawing of my own design. It's great art, isn't it? This has been Rob from Combat Self-Defense. I want to thank you guys for all the hard work. Thank you for the hard work yet to be done, and I'll see you next time.